Jim Zucal, City of St. Clairsville Safety and Service Director. Today is Media Day here at the water plant, and surrounding me here is our 1929 facility. We want to show the media many aspects of the plant and the water operations, including the most critical issues at the water plant, the deterioration, the water mains and storage, the challenges faced by the city, what the city has actually invested in this plant and facility since 2016, and all the many components you will see today and the outcome of what you learn and become educated about, and open for discussion and a plant tour. So thank you for coming, and I hope this enlightens all of you. Thank you. We have here, this is a visual outdoor look at the water plant facility, and directly to our north, and that, up that driveway, is the city reservoir. That's the earthen dam that you see. The main water, the raw water feed for this plant, comes down that driveway and into the plant. Now in 2016, what we found out, that main raw water intake pipe was clogged. So we brought a company in, or partially clogged. So we brought a company in to flail that line out. Our pumps were surging because they weren't getting a steady stream of water. There was obstruction in there. And that line was put in 1929 also. So we cleaned out that line and then started working inside the plant to make the operations better. So you have water that comes in, treated in the plant. We have 2 storage basins here, and then we have the finished lagoons, which are lagoons for carbon that we spoil, and then the main plant behind us. So again, to start, water coming in, now we'll go into the plant. Take it on in. And again, everyone be careful, please. Got it?
Yep.
Start now, we came from the outside where the raw water comes in. We're just going to follow the water. We'll do a start to finish, okay?
All right.
So we'll go downstairs. Because they weren't getting enough water from the main plant, the electric motors were burning out, and we had actual issues with the pump. So we use one pump for our filtering process, and then the other one pushes everything out to our constituents. So it's loud in there, but I'll show you. So this is when the water leaves the building. So here's our pump with the piping, whole pipe. We didn't have a surge suppressor. Put a new surge suppressor on there.
Pumps it up from the clear well, which is below us,
Right.
and leaves the plant right there, goes through this pipe down there on by the floor, and leaves the plant right there at the wall.
And out to the city.
Out to the city.
This pump is used in our filtering process.
No,
the backwash.
That's the back.
That's the back. Oh, this is our backup.
This is the number 2 high service pump.
That's our backup. Seen enough? So once the water comes in, are we missing? So once the water comes in, then we hit it downstairs. It's okay, Ryan. Here we're coming along. The water's coming in. We hit it with the sodium permanganate. It goes into the flash mixer. Now it comes up, and these are 1, 2, and then the third one is our newest filter. So these 2 filters were built in 1929, and we took them out. It was a major investment, about another $100,000. They're sand, anthracite, big stone, just like a big aquarium filters it out. Those have never been replaced till this year. The other tank over here was built in the 1980s. It was replaced. It was new, actually, in 1984.
Yeah.
So the quality of your water, the taste, and the odor, a big portion of it is dependent on these filters. So that water is still coming through. It's relatively raw yet, and it's just being filtered through there. So, and here's our, we upgraded all the instrumentation again this year, so just to meet EPA compliance.
Yeah, those are the turbidimeters.
Yeah, these are about, what, 8 feet deep, Ryan? About 8 feet?
To the surface of the sand, it's about 4, but
To the
all the way
bottom?
down, yeah.
About 8. So you have sand and gravel in there filtering that out. So that's the next step. Then after that, we'll go through the chemical process.
After the filters,
Yeah,
it goes back downstairs through that blue pipe through the rate controllers.
Yes.
Gets hit with the chlorine, fluoride, phosphate. Goes into the clear well, which is outside underground.
Yeah, so the clear well's outside. We'll go out and look at that. So now, after it leaves here, it's been dosed with chemicals. So we'll go out and look at that next, okay? Are you bored?
Okay. Tired.
I gotta tease you. Yeah. I was your age, I never got tired.
When did you,
Yes,
a
Robert.
couple quick questions. When did you say
I like to tease you, find out. Pardon me, Robert? We had that replaced this year. And turbidity is an issue when it goes out in the system. So. And this is the lab, so this is really, again, like I said, and our guys do a fantastic job. We're not giving them something really polished to work with, but they're all good workers and good guys. There's 4 people that work here. So it's just outdated and needs to be modernized. So
the lab is?
The lab,
or
yeah.
just the entire?
So
There's some, what are some outdated or trouble?
well, we're measuring today. It is, you can see some of the measuring systems. Things are just done differently today, Robert. Ryan does a fantastic job. He's going to do very well in his water business. So. But anyhow, that's we're just trying to do the right thing, and I think the city deserves better. Our constituents really don't know what they have here, but it's important to know.
So if yins do sell to Aqua,
Yeah.
and you decide to sell to Aqua,
Yes.
are they going to build you a new plant?
I can't answer that entirely. I can answer it that I don't think the option is really out to keep the plant. I mean, there's other options out there. The problem with the plant is the age of the plant, the cost to build a new plant, and the problem we have is that regardless, we still have a surface water source. So cities and communities are better with well fields. The city of Wheeling, Martins Ferry, Belmont County, they all have great water sources. We don't really have a great water source. So I think the idea would be to keep this plant going, and in the meantime, create that thought process of blending water. Now remember, when we do blend, and I'll show you the county, there's a 12-inch feed here that we can use. But when you blend others' water with our water, it creates some mixing and some turbidity, and the problem that goes out to our constituents. Mostly the ones on Reservoir Road get it first. So it moves north and on the west side and then goes east, and it mixes up the system. So there would have to be some engineering where there was a midstream operation where the water came in, there was a midstream settling clear well system, then it would go out. That's what's been discussed, but nobody has made a decision yet. So. The problem from the city's perspective to build a new plant, and I've talked to council, and this discussions went on for about 2 years, but a new plant, which I validated with information from engineers, is around $12 to $15 million. So if you build the new plant, in the life of a service director, it takes you 2 to 3 years to acquire and secure the funding. It takes another 2 or 3 years to engineer and have a design. Then you have to bid that out. And then when you bid that out, you accept the bids, and then they come in and finally build your new plant. So it's not uncommon to see 7 or 8 years down the road, you eventually get something. in the meantime, we struggle. And at the end of the day, regardless, again, as I said, we still have a surface plant. So we still have problems. If we had good well fields, it would be a different ballgame. So that's why we're here today. So our system, from the raw water, the plant, the distribution, that 10 miles of 4-inch pipe in the ground, just the whole system to where it comes out the tap is complicated. It shouldn't be complicated, but it is, because it's a source problem, it's a mechanical problem, it's a distribution problem. And I think the people of St. Clairsville deserve better. This is just, our employees deserve better. So.
I kind of noticed there were some some new additions, some new instrumentation
Sure.
or additions in that you sort of put on. What do you think in terms of your options? Do you think it's an option to sort of target some of the worst things, and I guess maybe try to repair things sort of repair or upgrade it sort of
Sure.
piecemeal? Is that
That's
sort of
what
an
we're
option?
doing now. I'll elaborate on that from start to finish. So since 2016, now keep in mind, I repeat, but we have a source water issue because we have harmful algal blooms. The
Yeah.
water temperature is very high right now. We have a surface plant. We have a reservoir that takes in water from streams. And so when that water comes in, again, we fixed the water pipe, the 8-inch pipe coming in, which was around $70,000. We fixed the pumps that were downstairs that I showed you that were around another $100,000. Then we started fixing valves and actuators, all the shiny new pipe you saw, the meters, the instrumentation. So since 2016, we put roughly about $300,000 into this plant, just to appease, and it does help, the EPA, Ohio EPA, and piecemeal or band-aid the plant. So we're band-aiding the plant. So then it goes out into our system, and recently we've had quite a few water line breaks. The ground's starting to dry out. But again, we have 10 miles of 4-inch pipe. We have a distribution network that's not typical of what you would see in a water system. And we took on, as a city, 95 more acres to the east of the city. So stand in this plant today, go out to the St. Clair Commons project area, and we're building a new water tank, which was a process that was started many years ago, the thought process for 95 acres. So we're from one side of the city now to the other side of the city, so we have a dynamic issue here. We've taken on the expense in trying to get that area developed for economic development, which is a good idea, but we're still have reservations as how we can function in the water system, and how that, when that tank does get filled up, which we think will be in September or October, we're going to run into issues with running the plant, keeping the plant going, fulfilling our needs. Our needs for the future are beyond. This plant produces about 600,000 gallons a day. We're going to take down the old water tank behind City Hall. We have the new water tank. We're going to be roughly in the same ballpark, but the needs of the city for the future, we anticipate are around 1 million gallons. So this plant is at near capacity in production. So we can't meet the needs of the future right now. We're very limited. So
600,000
a day.
That's
Yeah.
an idea, like in terms of these breaks and water line leaks. Like how much water do you think is of that? I guess is lost, or I guess doesn't make it.
Well, we do lose water when we have water line breaks, but our water loss here in the city is beyond the EPA standards. You know, we're thinking the water loss around here could be as high as 30%, you know, 27, 30, 33%, somewhere in that area. So we lose a lot of water. That's partly because of the aging infrastructure and unmetered areas, places that are unmetered. So we've got to correct the water loss problem, and that's part of the distribution problem. So,
Jim, when you say 30%, that
Yeah.
means water that's leaving the plant
right, that we paid to treat.
and it's not making it to the tap.
That's correct. So when it leaves this plant and all these chemicals that we showed you and the employees and all that we've done, and when it leaves here, we're losing 30% somewhere. So some of those could be leaks, some could be unmetered, So there's people that do that. Aqua has a team of people that go out and they refine the system, look for the leaks. We don't have those kind of people. It's expensive. We brought leak detection in here for 2 or 3 months or more. You know, we looked at the price. It's anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000. You almost have to do that yearly, and it builds over time to where you get that number down to an acceptable level, which might be 12%, 10 to 12% is common. So there's a lot of work to do. And the sad part is, yes, it's treated, it's been brought into the system, it goes out, and so now that's lost revenue. Any other questions? How long have we been talking about this, Robert? About 2 years? Off and on?
Yeah, sounds like it.
So, again, I said, you know, our constituents, the demand, they deserve better. We, you know, we're doing our best to fix what we can, complimenting the employees because they deserve it. And we just want to do what's right for the city and what's right for the future. I think our constituents deserve clean, safe drinking water at a fair price. That's how I feel. So, it comes down to one word, capital. So what do you think? Comments, questions? You only yawned twice. I can teach you. Can you take it?
Yeah, I can take it.
Brittany
Trust
can
me.
take it. Because she knows because I tell her
You
good
knew,
jokes.
you knew the family I grew up in.
That's good. So,
Yeah, it's,
you have brothers?
2 older brothers.
That's good. You can take it then.
Yeah. You mentioned the possibility of you guys went with, to some extent, with the county and sort of blended things, there'd be something called.
Yeah, I'm going to show you out there where the county water comes in. Part of the problem is when we do turn on the county water, so now we have water in our system that blends with the county water, creates turbidity. So modern to a big clear well, and then it's slowly mixed with the city. So if it was 100% county source, there would be storage and they would move it on. So that is yet to be explored, but it is an option. The problem we have right now with the county is we're limited to in our contract, 285,000 gallons a day. We need 600,000 gallons a day, and we'd have to negotiate a different rate because part of our problem right now is revenue. We don't have the revenue stream, and we want to keep our rates low. So that's one of our main goals.
So if you do sell to Aqua, will they come in? Will they fix all the infrastructure?
They have a plan in place. Their capital investment, I believe right now is listed around 9.9 million, but they would replace, they would certainly continue to work on this facility at least for the next 3 years is what I've been told. And then they would go out and start immediately working on the distribution system, the 4-inch pipe, taking the 4-inch pipe out of the ground. And remember, the 4-inch pipe is a safety issue because the hydrants, by EPA regulations, you can't have a hydrant on a 4-inch. Minimum is 6-inch. So they would start working on that immediately. They would work with our water personnel, keep adding money to the plant, and then come up with a long-term solution to fix or to function with another entity, collaborate with another entity. So
Sounds like, well, there may be a few options as regard to the plant, but the pipelines, these distribution system, those pipelines, that's
still
a
inadequate.
necessity.
It's a necessity. It's an absolute must.
And any idea or how they would go about how long that would take to sort of tackle this
Well,
citywide distribution thing?
Here's the beauty yeah, Robert, I'll answer that. So, in the life of a service director, first of all, I have to find the funding. Then I have to go out and hire an engineer, and then they design the project, and then they submit that to the Ohio EPA for a permit to install. And then once you get the permit to install, you got to get legislation through council. Once you get legislation through council, then you accept bids, then you award a bid. So, you know, it may take 4 or 5 years to get new water lines in on Iona Drive, for example. So, but we're a company like Aqua that has engineers on staff, they design it, they get the PTI, they have the funding, and within months or a year, they're doing all that. It's just the governmental process slows it all down for me. We don't have that time. We're on borrowed time. So,
You mean, is it 4 or 5 years you guys were doing 4 to 5 years before it was finished, before you could even start?
Yeah, the engineers had told me, and I validated all this with documentation. The lifespan of this plant is really about 3 years, unless it gets significant funding. And that would just be a Band-Aid for the future. Really, if the city continued to build a new plant, it wouldn't be here. The real estate's limited. We're down here in the valley. There was talks of up on the hill, so you take it from the reservoir, pump it up on a hill, so we'd have to buy new land. We'd have to get the funding. We'd have to design it. We'd have to bid it. We'd have to build it. And again, it's in the life of a service director, it's 3 years for funding, 3 years for engineering, and 3 years to build it. So that's just the outlay, and that's why we thought it was important today that the group, everyone sees what we're dealing with here, and at the same time, we're trying to keep our rates low and keep the EPA satisfied. So, and who's buying lunch? Let's go look at the. So we'll just go from here, but that newer block building right there is a 12-inch water line. So when we need county water, we can actually turn the pumps, the system on there, and blend it with our water. So that's the newest building here, and that's why that's here today. But again, it's limited. The county, Ryan, when you call the county, sometimes they can't give water, right?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
they have
and
breaks
it's limited too, yeah.
Yeah.
So we can't just flip a switch and fulfill our needs. And then there's also an issue with the contracted price. When we do that is expensive. So we can't run the whole city. We're limited to 285,000 gallons. If the phone call's made and they say, okay, we need 600,000 gallons, and then at that cost, we can't pass that cost on to our customers. It's too, we can, but it's too high, it's excessive.
Jim, Mr. Beal was saying
Yeah.
there's already a 24-inch line on the way to the county.
That's my understanding.
This is a 12.
This is a 12?
Yeah.
My understanding.
Is that a 12, Ryan? It's a 12, I believe.
From the county building to here, I believe it is.
Yeah.
I don't know what the sizes of the
Yeah,
county
I'm sure,
lines
Jim.
are.
It's 8 miles.
I know
to
it's
here.
quite a distance.
Yeah, and it's
There
a
was,
12.
There was
yeah.
there's a 14, I believe, running down Route 9, isn't
Yeah.
there?
Well, not that I know of, but there could be. But so
They
the
put
goal.
it, when they
Yeah.
rebuilt the bridge, they said, well, we might as well strip it out. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Now the conversations I've had with the county, this is our only source,
okay.
and then that's coming 8 miles to get here. They're building a new. In part of their project is going to be a new 24-inch, but it has.
That's what I.
That's the one. It's going to be 8 or 9 miles of 24.
That would solve a lot of problems.
But what I understand, we met with the commissioners. They haven't even signed their funding papers yet.
Okay.
So they're behind. They're looking years down the road. And then really to get it here, this site, the actual physical site's down in a valley. There has to be some kind of a blending process, because when it leaves here, all these valves out here in this intersection, everything goes up Reservoir Road. And as soon as we do use any county water, those folks up there have white t-shirts that turn gray, and
I know.
they come in with jars that look like coffee. And
I know. Been there, done that.
yeah, so it's,
Which is weird because
Yeah.
my mom's water
Yeah.
is fine all
Yeah.
the time,
yeah.
but I will get the brown water.
Yeah, and it's a mixing issue too. There's turbidity.
Yeah, I did know that. I
Yeah.
did know that.
So if you just flip the switch and bam, send it out there, then we have nothing but problems. So in the modern design world, they build a big clear well. Things have changed,
Yeah.
especially a lot since 1929. So I mean, their technology's out there to do things better. So any questions?